make sure you like and subscribe and go follow my Patreon. It's only $5 a month and you get an extra video a week and you get to participate in recommending videos and voting for which ones you want me to do. Today I'm actually going to be doing a video by Dave Chappelle. I'm going to be reacting to him talking about his white friend Chip. He was recommended a lot whenever I started doing Bill Burr reactions, and I know even less about Dave Chappelle than I knew about Bill Burr coming into it. So I feel like I'm definitely going to be reacting genuinely because I don't really know much about him. But he kept coming up, so I want to give him a try.
Now, I was hanging out with a friend of mine. He's a white guy, We were just hanging out, and we were lost in the city. We were smoking a joint. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence that we were lost in the high and shit, but my white buddy, he was smoking a joint. Dave, it's the goddamn cops. I'm gonna ask him for directions. I said, Chip, no! Chip, don't do it! It was too late. He was walking over there. This man was high as shit.
Oh, I know.
Excuse me.
Going.
Excuse me, sir. Touching him and shit. Excuse me. Need some information. Start confessing things you shouldn't confess. I'm a little high. All I want to know, which way is 3rd Street? The cop was like, hey, take it easy. You're on 3rd Street. You better be careful. Go ahead, move it. Move it. And that's all that happened. That's the end of the story.
Yeah.
Now, I know that's not amazing to some of you, but you ask one of these black fellas, that shit is fucking incredible, isn't it? I'm saying a black man would never dream of talking to the police high. That's a waste of weed. Serious. I mean, I'd be scared to talk to the police when I'm sleepy. Fuck around and get the wrong idea and shit. Oh my God. That nigga was on PCP, Johnson.
Oh, no.
I had to use necessary force. You saw him. No paperwork. Just sprinkle some crack on him. Let's get out of here. That's how it is. But at the time, I didn't think there was anything racial about it. I was just like, man, Chip, you got fucking lucky. You better be careful. But then another time, me and Chip are driving. Now, I'm not driving. Chip is driving, and he's driving a little crazy. He's been drinking. Now, I don't like to let my friends drive drunk, but, I was smoking a joint. I couldn't really say shit to the guy. And we get at a red light. We stop at a red light.
Since he's telling another story, I feel like it's a good stopping point to kind of talk. I feel like his delivery is really good. He's really not forceful. He's just really, relaxed. Like, he's actually telling a story to maybe a friend, but it's an entire room of people. He doesn't seem too overly performative. He's just, talking to you. So I really like that about him because his delivery is really slow, and so you anticipate it, and then it's just really good and really funny whenever he says, offhanded comments. It's not like a huge punchline. It's just him talking. He has a funny personality. But, oh my gosh, that story is so terrible because I feel so bad. Honestly, as soon as he said Chip would just, walk up to this police officer and started talking to him, and he's, probably revealing too much information. Dave Chappelle pointed out that, a black man literally could not do that. And he compares it so dramatically to even him sleeping and him being bonked on the head because he woke up, didn't even really say anything, and then cops, sprinkle crack on him and then just dip. And, oh my gosh, those stories are two very, very different outcomes of very different very similar situations, but I just thought it was really horrible but really funny because he's joking about something that would probably make people a little uncomfortable, and it's probably true. I mean, speaking on how he delivers and how he gets you comfortable with whenever he's actually telling a joke, he's extremely inviting. I feel like it might even be hard to notice that he's giving such strong social commentary because he's sneaking in between those lines with jokes. I actually feel like this last joke was a great example of that because I first hear that he's talking about his friend literally driving drunk, and I'll just put myself aside and say, that's a terrible thing to do. I mean, if you're in a room and you're talking about how it's funny that your friend drove drunk, I would typically be like, oh, that's not funny. That's really awful. But I almost didn't even notice that that's like, oh, you should never let your friend drive drunk because the joke is so funny. He's literally saying, well, I was high, so I couldn't do anything about it. And I like want to agree with him, and I find it really funny, and I have absolute no like, oh, that's terrible in me. So I just think that joke's actually a really good example of how even I could disagree what he's saying, and I still find it funny, and I don't want to disagree because he's inviting and really good at slickly putting in those jokes.
And we get at a red light. We stop at a red light, and a car pulls up next to us, and I'll never forget it. Chippy looks at me, he's all drunk, and she's like, Dave, I'm gonna race him. I knew it was a bad idea, but I was high. I tried to explain to him it was a bad idea, but all that came out was, well, nigga, sometimes you gotta race, I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Man, that light turned green and Chip took off, zigzagging and shit so no one could pass. The other car didn't even know he was racing. Then the police seen us and pulled us over. Now you understand, I'm scared as shit. I mean, come on, the car smells like weed. I've been speeding, this man is fucking drunk. I was scared. Chip was not scared at all. It was weird, he didn't even turn his radio down. Isn't that weird a little bit? I mean, if you get pulled over, wouldn't you turn your radio down? Nobody want to get their ass beat to a soundtrack and shit. You know what I'm saying? Chip had the music blasting. We're not gonna take it. He looked at me and said, Dave, just relax. Close your butt cheeks. Just relax. Let me do the talking. You wanna know what he said? This is almost exactly what he said. I couldn't believe it. He says, oh. Sorry, officer, I didn't know I couldn't do that. I was fucking shocked. The cop said, well, now you know. Just get out of here. Just get the fuck out of here. Chip said, okay, I will, sir. Thank you. What? What's wrong with you, Dave?
Oh, no.
I didn't know I couldn't do that. He said, that was good, wasn't it? Because I did know I couldn't do that.
Ah, that was such a great way to end that. That's so ridiculous. The first part's a little bit more subtle. I mean, if you're high, I would think that there's a big difference between being high and drunk. I would think that you're more incompetent being drunk, and all he said that he did in the first part of the joke is walk up to a police officer. So, I mean, yeah, if you're not really causing trouble or doing anything super illegal other than being high and you can kind of play it off, then I can kind of see how someone slides with that. However, I liked that he still pointed out, oh, well, a black person couldn't do that. And the joke gets even worse, how he got away with drunk driving and racing and zigzagging in the street just by saying, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Which, no, of course, like, that's ridiculous to get away with. So he kind of builds up this joke by being, like, he eases into it, which is really smooth. It doesn't just start off with the overdramatic situation, but then he shares an overdramatic situation, and since the first one was so believable, it's so easy to just slide into that one and be like, yeah, that would have happened. And you kind of feel like you're there in the car and you just watched it happen, which makes it a really, really good joke. Also, I really like Dave Chappelle's, I guess it was like his white voice. I know he was kind of pretending and imitating his friend, and he kind of put a name to it because he's talking about a real story, and he said that his name is Chip. But I felt like he was so into this character that I almost forgot he was talking about a real story or his friend named Chip. I just saw him as like a typical, stereotypical, actually, like white guy or white man that would sound really crisp cut and just maybe dorky and like kind of out of touch with what really could have happened. No, you don't even understand. The level of severity of what could have happened didn't. And he's over here saying, oh, that was funny, wasn't it? Just a very shallow level of not even understanding how big it could have been, because he's like, oh, I got away with it, like, that's cool. And then he's just going to move on probably. And Dave Chappelle is like, he really has his mind blown, because as he plays his character as like, oh, I don't even like, well, what? I mean, it was funny, right? Because I did know what was happening. Dave is actually shocked because his character is like, no, you don't even get what you got away with. He really did address like white privilege, and he addressed it in such a smooth way that felt like you didn't even really see it coming. Because he's funny, he got away with it. But he really is pointing and calling it out. He was very good at exposing white privilege in a very subtle way that didn't seem too harsh or really even noticeable. So I look forward to doing more Dave Chappelle. I think that he's really unique, and I do know that he's really popular. I don't know much about him. And if you guys have any recommendations for any other videos that you would like me to do by him, just leave them in the comments below. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Go follow me on Instagram and check out my Patreon. Again, it's only $5. And we really appreciate you guys at least checking it out and even joining. Thank you so much for watching.